Democrats flee Texas to block Trump-backed GOP redistricting map. Texas has become the epicenter of a dramatic political standoff, one that raises questions about democracy, power, and the lengths lawmakers will go to protect their vision of fair representation. At the heart of this controversy, Democratic legislators have taken the extraordinary step of fleeing their own state to block a redistricting plan that, if passed, would significantly strengthen Republican control in Congress. But why would elected officials abandon their posts, and could it ever be justified? Here's what happened. In response to a newly proposed congressional map, revealed by Texas's Republican majority and enjoying the backing of former President Donald Trump, Democrats in the Texas legislature decided not to play ball. The proposed map would establish 5 additional congressional districts, practically guaranteed to favor Republicans, potentially tilting the outcome of future national elections. According to Texas law, a vote in the 150-member legislature requires at least 2/3 attendance, which means Republicans cannot push the map through if enough Democrats are absent. In a dramatic act of protest, 51 Democratic lawmakers left the state, many making a beeline for Illinois, effectively withholding the quorum needed for any legislative action. Their intention? To remain out of Texas for 2 weeks. The duration of the special legislative session called by Republican Governor Greg Abbott. This special session wasn't just about redistricting. It was also convened to tackle urgent matters like providing disaster relief in the wake of deadly floods and considering a ban on THC, the main active compound in marijuana. By not showing up, Democrats risked more than political blowback. Each absentee faces a hefty $500 fine per day. Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton didn't mince words on social media, vowing to use every available measure to track down and force the missing lawmakers back, even threatening arrest. Democrats in the Texas House who try and run away like cowards should be found, arrested, and brought back to the Capitol immediately, Paxton fired off. But Texas Democrats are digging in their heels. Jean Wu, legislator and chair of the House Democratic Caucus, argues that their departure is a stand against what they see as a stacked process. We're not walking out on our responsibilities. We're walking out on a rigged system that refuses to listen to the people we represent. And this is the part most people miss. Although Democrats argue against gerrymandering, aren't they also guilty of redistricting for political gain when they're in control? For instance, in states such as Illinois, New Mexico, and Nevada, it's Democrats who have drawn voting maps favorably for themselves. The recent Illinois map even received a failing grade from the renowned Princeton Gerrymandering Project, spotlighting just how politically skewed it is. But on the other side of the debate, some Democratic-controlled states, think New York, California, Colorado, and Washington, take a different approach by entrusting redistricting to independent, nonpartisan commissions. Does this make them more democratic, or is it merely for appearances? Currently, Texas Republicans control 25 of the state's 38 seats in the U.S. House, but hope that the proposed map can stretch their majority to 30, all in districts Trump easily won in the last election. As midterms approach and the margin between both parties in the U.S. House remains razor-thin, Republicans at 219 seats, Democrats at 212, the stakes couldn't be higher. How would the new map reshape Texas's political landscape? For starters, it would redraw the Rio Grande Valley, merge 2 Democratic seats in Austin, expand a Dallas area district held by a Democrat into rural Republican territory, and alter 4 Houston area districts, including one held by Democrat Al Green. Todd Hunter, the Republican lawmaker sponsoring the changes, hails the redistricting as a good plan for Texas. Bold moves like these are not new. This is the 3rd instance in recent years that Texas Democrats have exited the state to prevent Republicans from assembling a quorum. In 2021, they flew to Washington, D.C. in a failed effort to block new election laws. And in 2003, they camped out in Oklahoma to stop another GOP-led redistricting, which ultimately passed regardless. Usually, redistricting is a once-a-decade event, timed with the U.S. Census. The last was in 2020, so redrawing voting maps less than halfway through a decade is unusual, if not controversial. So, let's put it to you. Does fleeing the state reflect a noble act of resistance, or is it a dereliction of duty? Are both parties equally guilty of gerrymandering when in power, or does relying on independent commissions give one side the moral high ground? Drop your thoughts, agreements, or fiery disagreements in the comments below. Because when it comes to who really decides our representation, the debate is far from settled. Abbott threatens Texas Dems. Removal, felonies, redistricting battle explained. 2025 crisis. Governor Greg Abbott, the Republican leader of Texas, has escalated tensions with a bold ultimatum to the state's Democratic House members. Return to Austin immediately or risk losing your seats. In a dramatic turn of events, over 50 Democrats fled the state on Sunday to prevent the Texas House from achieving a quorum, effectively stalling all legislative proceedings. Their goal? To block the passage of a contentious new congressional map, which critics argue unfairly favors Republicans. But here's where it gets controversial. Abbott isn't taking this lying down. He's threatening legal action to remove the absent lawmakers from their positions, citing a 2021 legal opinion that suggests such absences could be grounds for forfeiture of office. And this is the part most people miss. If a court agrees, Abbott could potentially replace these seats with his own appointees, setting off a political firestorm. In a letter to the missing Democrats, Abbott declared, "This truancy ends now." He gave them until 3:00 p.m. on Monday, August 4, 2025, to return to the Capitol. Failure to comply could result in felony charges, Abbott warned, alleging that the Democrats might be breaking bribery laws by raising funds to cover the hefty fines they'll accrue for each day they remain out of state. Anyone contributing to this cause could also face legal repercussions, according to Abbott's statement. The stakes couldn't be higher, with Abbott even hinting at extradition efforts for any potential out-of-state felons. Meanwhile, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker pledged support for the Texas Democrats, promising to shield them during their time in hiding. "We're going to do everything we can to protect every single one of them," Pritzker vowed. The Texas House Democratic Caucus, representing the state's Democratic lawmakers, responded to Abbott's threats with a defiant, "Come and take it," a clear sign that this political standoff shows no signs of cooling down anytime soon. Democrats across the board have decried the mid-session redistricting as a racially motivated and partisan assault on Black and Hispanic voters. They also see it as a deliberate distraction from addressing the urgent need for flood relief measures following the catastrophic Hill Country floods, which claimed the lives of 130 people. The proposed map, due for a House vote on Monday, dramatically reshapes districts in major cities like Houston, Dallas, and Austin, likely to secure 5 additional seats for the GOP. While Republican state lawmakers defend their right to redraw maps for partisan advantage outside the usual decennial redistricting cycle, the Democrats view this as a blatant power grab. As the political temperature rises, the question on everyone's lips is, how will this saga end? And that's not all. The Texas Tribune Festival is heating up with a stellar lineup of speakers, including comedian and actor John Mulaney, Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson, U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, tech journalist Kara Swisher, and U.S. Representative Veronica Escobar. Don't miss out on this opportunity to hear from top leaders, innovators, and newsmakers. Secure your tickets now.